yeah, I'm rich. I knew it. I had a hunch, right? And you go home, you're like, sitting on a hill. I love this church. Honey, you're not going to believe it. Turns out we're rich. And we've been rich for years. This changes everything. It changes nothing. Why? Because you don't feel rich, you know? You don't feel rich. You just have sort of a way of filling up all of your extra dollars with suddenly stuff you need, right? The only guy who feels rich is the guy who gets his first job. He's 16 years old. He gets his first job over at the grocery store, meat packing, and suddenly starts banking $300 every paycheck. He's up to 6, up to 12, has 0 expenses, and all this margin in his life. That's the guy who feels rich. He's riding around in his beat-up Corolla, 1985, whatever. But he's the richest guy in Long Island. Why? Because he's got a little margin in his life. So the moral of the story is move back in with your parents. And you will feel rich. No. The moral is, I have to help you. Timothy has to help. The Word of God has to help you, rich people. And this one, we need some guidance. You suddenly realize it's not easy to be rich. And there's a lot of people who do it badly. But the Bible doesn't leave you hanging. And the Bible's theology of riches is more than, so feel bad. The Bible's theology of riches is a little more robust than just, so feel guilty. It's got something to say to us. More than just, so you should just feel, look at all these starving people. You should feel good. No, that's not what it says at all. He doesn't say command those who are rich in this present world to just hang their head, feel guilty, and feel bad about being rich. Not at all. Gives us some advice. All I was trying to do, I took the lion's share of this sermon just to say, these rich people aren't somebody else. This is us. Like, a lot of us think, these rich people are Bernie Madoff. Filthy rich. That's who this sermon's about. But what if it's more than about these people, What if it's about this guy? Right? I'm rich. Okay, now what? Oh, one more thing I need to interject, because this happened at my church. It came up as I was preaching. Like Pastor Linda said, I wish I could hug each and every one of you. Her. She means it. And might, on the way out, you might, in fact, get a hug. I've gotten a lot of them. And they're good. And the Lechis, they really do. They mean it. They love you. And so sometimes when you're preaching, you've experienced this. You realize these are real people. These aren't theological concepts. And as I was preaching, I'm looking out, and that guy needs a job. And that guy, needs a job. And so here they are, and they're looking at me going, you could have that global rich list all you want. I'm still zero because I don't have a job, And I get that. And these are like my friends and my people, And maybe you're here and you're struggling. You're like, really? How to be rich? I'm struggling so much. I can't, I get that. There are people who are on fixed incomes. There are people who, I totally get that. I guess all I'm trying to say is, first I would say technically this doesn't apply to you right now. You're not those who are rich in this present world. And that's okay. And maybe I should just leave it there. But I just want to say, don't altogether kick this out. Because it's a funny thing about this country. It's like you got potential, though, to be back on your feet in a way that real poverty you don't. Compassion International is a charity that I love and support. And you guys have Compassion Sunday, I think, from time to time. Yeah. And one of the things they say is the opposite of poverty is not income. The opposite of poverty, or poverty is not the absence of income. True poverty is the absence of hope. See, and while, if tomorrow I lost my job, I would feel like terrible. I'd be like so bummed, and really, I'd have a couple days and weeks of, what am I going to do? But come on, I live in this country. I've been blessed with, like all the advantages or whatever. It's sort of like I have, what do they call it? Earning potential? Is that what it's called? I have earning potential. Imagine being in a world where you lost your job and you don't have earning potential. That's the world that people are living. So all I'm saying is, even if this doesn't apply to you right now, you're probably putting out resumes. Well, what if they work? Like, you probably got Wednesday night prayer group going to bat for you. They're not going to pray for a bad job for you, right? They're going to pray for good jobs. I would. That's why I pray for my people. Bless them with a great job. What happens when you get it? That's all. So file this away for what may be coming. Just a quick word to those who are truly discouraged about the financial situation. Yes, it may not apply to you right now. For a vast majority, maybe this does hit home, that we're richer than we think. So I'm rich, now what? How does this sermon end? What is the end of this story? One end of the story could be, he says, let me make sure I got it. There it is. Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant. All right, well, one way you could end this sermon is to be arrogant. And one way to be arrogant is to remain in denial. I am not rich. It's to leave here and go, that was a great sermon. We better get that CD for Uncle Frank, He's the guy who, it's always somebody else. One way is to sit under the Word of God and say, you know what, this is for me. And whatever the rest of these instructions are, I'm going to receive them as if they're for me, right? One way is arrogance. And another way to be arrogant is to say, look, man, I get it, but I'm rich, but I live by my own hand. And everything I got, I earned, right? There's some people, this is my hard work. I don't need God. I don't need to give him any credit. And this is mine, right? That's arrogant. And I don't think anybody would